Good morning, painting students. I want you to look at this here still life of red bell peppers. This is how you're going to take the photo of whatever reference that you are creating for your painting, and you then want to make sure that you use composition. Composition is the arrangement of the objects that is on the surface. So right here, I did put the two halves of the red bell pepper in its order. What I want to do is make sure now that the focal point is evident, and I chose this bell pepper here as my focal point. Why? Because it has a little more contrast from light, medium, and dark, and it has a nice shadow underneath it. Remember, your still life need to have a good defined shadow, okay? How you position your light and your light area will determine the shadows. So here I can use my grid to show the third ratio, and I'm going to show you that right now on the camera. So as I really put the composition together, I can see that the grid is broken up into squares, and what I want to do is align what I have here with the thirds. This area here where my mouse is a corner square. This area here where my mouse is a corner square. This right here is a corner square as far as the third ratio. Remember, third ratio. And right here where my hand mouse is a third ratio. All right, so if this was broken up, this will be 1/3. This over here, this line will be 1/3 here. So I want to now move my image around so that my focal point emphasis is sitting on the third ratio. And right now, both bell peppers center areas are on the third ratio focal point. Then I want to make sure that my background do not have too much width on all sides. So I'm going to bring that in slightly, but then that did move my third ratio a little bit, so I'm going to scoot it over slightly, like so. So you make sure that your objects and compositions do not touch, but they can overlap. When they are touching, it creates a tangent, and we don't want that. So these bell peppers are overlapping, so they look like one is under the other. That's why you have this really good darkened shadow underneath. This is a lighter shadow, and even more lighter shadow in behind. This photo is taken from a bird's eye, lower bird's eye perspective. So consider your perspective when you're taking the photo. That would be great as well. If it's worm's eye, you're going to take the photo where you're squat down and looking up at the bell peppers. If it is bird's eye, you're standing over the bell peppers and taking the photo, or whatever fruit or vegetable object you are actually taking a photo to paint. All right, so this is what composition looks like when you are taking a photograph of a still life object. This is how you use the thirds ratio, breaking down the thirds to create the grid. You can even do that when you are actually drawing it onto your canvas, create your third ratio. You can even print this out with the third ratio defined on there for you. And so this is in color, but we do not want this in color for our first painting a complete value system on our still life for the value scale painting. We have a value number 1, all right? And we have even 0 values with no, it's just completely white. Then we have some off-whites, and then we got 2s and 3s and 4s, and look at that, right in the inside of there. So this here painting, you will establish, if you're doing the bell peppers, I believe is a 7 scale value, and you're going to actually have your value scale defined right here at the bottom of your pre-sketch or your thumbnail. And so that when you have this paint and finish, I'm going to test your 7 values from your scale to your actual painting. So that means I want to see all those 7 values from your scale that's going to be down here in this right corner of your thumbnail. I'm going to test that to your actual painting. So now let's go back over the rubric to how you will be graded for this assignment. Rubric number 1 is, did you use correct composition? Did you show thirds ratio with your 2 or more objects? That's number 1. Number 2, did you place a shadow around your objects by putting the light source that you use, whether that's a light from artificial light from a lamp or that's from outside? If that, do you have established shadows surrounding or underneath your objects? That's number 2. Number 3, did you create a thumbnail drawing of your composition, and did you place the value scale on the bottom right corner, painted with the values that you see in your still life? And then number 4, sketching your object on canvas, making sure that you create the composition correctly and the ratios, the sketch, number 4. Then number 5, lastly, have you completed the painting showing the values that are in your value scale? You have painted it to look in the style of, in the shape of, the form of. You've used the elements of design and principles of design to completely finish painting your still life. Those are the 5 criterias for completing your painting for a grade. Good luck and thank you.